Yeah, I thought we really competed today, and against a really quality team. You know, I hate like hell losing a game, but I saw some strides in some areas, and it's just hard to lose one like this. We had a really nice run. Was it 14-0 run, right?
14-4 run.
14-4 run to tie it up at 52, which is what good teams do. They get down a little bit, they come back. We showed some resiliency. We showed some depth to our offense, like more people involved in our offense. 4 people in doubles. Unfortunately, they had 5 people in doubles. But, there's some things I think as we reflect back and look at the game and look at the film, there's things we're not going to be happy about for sure. But there are some growth areas that I'm glad to see. Shooting the ball 38% from the three-point line was much better. That was really big. I think the thing that's, 2 things are obvious. We can't give up 58 points in the paint, and we can't turn the ball over 19 times. That's just too many. So some of those are easy to fix, and some not so much. It's going to take work. But with a young team and, a lot of new faces, it's just going to take time. We have to be patient, but we have to continue to work and understand that, this is the elite level. This is the elite. This is the pros. And there's nothing easy about it. It's not for everybody. We get that. But I think there were stretches in the game where we played really well, battled really hard with a lot of people that have very little experience, in the WNBA. So I will say that, and then I'll just open it to questions. I'm sure you got questions.
James, want to start?
What did you think of the play? I believe it was Lexi, and she got on the floor with Jordan Canada, dives forward, gets the loose ball, kicks it out to Crystal for a 3, and that started, I think, 3 straight threes to tie the game. So what did you think about that play in particular to spark you all in the second half?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's a huge play, and Lexi's been struggling with her shooting, which is no doubt. But, one of the great things about her is nobody works harder, and evidence that she's not letting, the fact that, it's a little bit of a slump offensively shooting the ball affect other things like defense and hustle plays and possessions that are big possessions like that. And that's one of the reasons that we drafted her. So, she'll get out of this shooting slump, no doubt. And she showed some of her value in exactly what you just spoke about.
And then what did you think of the way Destanni managed the game as far as scoring, assisting, and running the offense and dealing with another tenacious ball defender in Jordan Canada?
Yeah, I mean, Henny did a good job for the most part. There's still some areas that she's got to learn, and you can't just get it by osmosis. You get it through experience, and you learn through film, and all the experiences that we acquire now are going to be fundamental to us building and growing and being better, in August than we are in May. It's just the way it is. So you can't speed that up. I thought she, like you said, she did play good floor game. I was glad to see her shoot the ball well today because she's another one that's been a little bit up and down. And she made some good reads. She also had some times where, was a little bit of a struggle. But that, again, that's just inexperience, youth, and you work it out through getting quality minutes, which she's going to get plenty of.
Alanna Smith's been filling in kind of almost as a 5 for you guys, playing in the front court alongside a bunch of other players. How much has her positional versatility and kind of pick-and-pop skills helped you guys early on in the season?
They've really helped us a lot. One of the big reasons Alanna is here is because she can face up and score it. And she poses a problem for other bigs who don't like to get out and defend a three-point line because she doesn't hesitate. She's got the experience. She's somebody who, although she's had some injury issues in her short, WNBA career, she's been playing with the Australian national team for quite some time, played in the Olympics. She's a very, very good player. And if you go back to her Stanford days, she was an All-American and a great player at Stanford doing exactly what you just saw tonight. Okay, making big plays calmly. I mean, she has a poise about her and a maturity about her that is valued. The great thing is that she's finally healthy again and her body's feeling good to cooperate with the great basketball mind that she has and the skill set that she has. And she brings something to the table that's really valuable in the modern game is bigs who can shoot it from beyond the arc.
Alyssa's got quite the handle of taking it up in transition all the time for a front court player. That's almost unusual. How much value does that add to the team and what you're able to do in those sort of situations?
Yeah, that's a good point, and that's something that we want to exploit. We don't want to overuse it, but Liz is somebody who can bring it, and we've told her, take it off the glass and bring it when you can and create. And part of her learning curve is understanding that where you used to do that against college players, now, bigger, quicker, longer, it's a little bit different look. And so some of the ways in which you attack or the decisions that you make are going to look slightly different. And again, it's one of those, you can explain it, but experience is the best teacher, and she's going to keep learning and growing. But, she has that ability, and I certainly, I'm not someone who likes to put a straitjacket on people and put them in a little box. I want people to use their full skill set, but, that's an ability that she has, and we will utilize it within the scheme of things, so to speak.
Back right there.
Yeah, kind of going off that, talking about your bigs. Liz Cambage had a good game today. What was your guys' kind of strategy going in to slow her down, and what did you see on how that game plan played out?
Well, Liz is somebody who can play both inside and out. She did some damage in right in front of the rim a little bit, particularly when Queen twisted her ankle and wasn't out there. That made it difficult. But we made some mistakes defensively, not covering that. But, she's a big target, and she finishes, and makes it tough. I mean, she's a tough player. 8 for 11, pretty high shooting percentage. When you can get close to the rim like that against smaller players, it makes it really, really difficult. I don't know that, I wouldn't say that she was a difference maker by herself, but she got a double-double. But they had 5 people in double figures, and some of the other stuff going on, hurt us too. I mean, we gave up 58 points in the paint. She had 22, and not all of them were right in front of the rim. So we got to look at, okay, where are the other holes in our defense that are causing those problems, and solve that. They're a team, and they showed it. 5 people in doubles. That's what you want, is shot distribution.
I know it's still really early here, but under the context of the goal of improvement, do you see resiliency in these first couple of games maybe being one of those areas that you've seen so far improvement in?
Yeah, I think so. I thought we played better for longer stretches tonight than the other night. We looked more cohesive as a team, and, that's a good sign. The hard part is, there is no easy game. There really is not an easy game, and it's a different type of opponent. The last opponent didn't have a Cambage on their team. The next opponent's going to be slightly different. You get Sylvia Fowles, who's another big that can really score it. But, and with little time to repair, you just have to learn what you can and move on, get to the next, bring the energy, the focus, the effort, and the cohesiveness, and just keep playing. And we're going to learn every step of the way and get better every step of the way. Sometimes with a loss, it's hard to see it. But as a coach, I see, the ways in which we were better. And I think we got good contributions. We mentioned Alanna Smith being one. The other was Emily Enksler. I mean, for somebody her size, she gets a lot done out there, So, there are some bright spots. Painful as it is to take a loss, I think we got better as a team. And I'm not happy with turnovers, not happy with 58 points in the paint for the other team. Beyond that, I think the rest was, manageable, so to speak.
It felt like LA closed out every quarter on at least a little bit of a run. How important is it for you guys to close out quarters well, and how do you manage just trying to stop those in the quarter runs that teams go on?
Good question. We'll have to look at the film.
And you also held the Sparks to just one made 3. I know you're upset about the points in the paint, but what do you think led to LA just only making that 1-3 all game?
Well, as you know, wasn't too very long ago, we gave up a boatload of threes, and we've talked about that. We can't do that in this league. So, you're bringing up a good point. The fact that they were 1 for 10 is great. But at the same time, you can't do one without the other. There's got to be balance, on both ends of the floor. And, tonight they didn't get the 3 ball going, but, there was a lot of damage in the paint. And it wasn't just one way. We got to look at the film and say, okay, let's pick 2 or 3 things that we got to fix immediately before we play Minnesota. What are they? And go fix them.
And you talked about the turnovers as well, but you guys play really fast too. Do you think that's a good trade-off at least, or a decent balance that you can have to afford some of those turnovers if you're playing in transition a lot?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I mean, I think, as you get more experience, and again, a lot of these guys haven't played together. I mean, we haven't played a lineup that has played together as a unit yet. You know what I mean? So the fast pace we want and that combined, I expect a little bit of turnovers, but some of our turnovers are unforced. That's the part I don't like. I could probably pick up 4 or 5 of them that's self-inflicted. Like that you can fix immediately, and you have to. You can't. You got to value the basketball and not turn it over like that. But again, you're playing a quality team like LA. They're going to force some things. So that's just basketball. I'm concerned about the ones that are unforced that we can control. Those we can do something about immediately, and we need to, because I'd love to have another 5 possessions in this game at a critical point and see what happens, And that's the hard part about pro basketball. It can slip away real quick. So you don't want to self-inflict anything. Silly fouls, bad turnovers, terrible shot selection. Those are controllable things. And, the turnovers are the thing that right now I'm most concerned about.
Finish up with James and then Sean Coward on Zoom. Go ahead, James.
I know Liz shot 8 for 11, but there were some stretches there early where you all were really making it tough on them to make those post-entry passes. So what do you think was the key early on to that success there, to just moving around, flying around, and making it hard for them to really get in a rhythm?
Well, I mean, that's something we talked about. Just get up and guard, pressure the basketball. Like one of the keys to the game for me was putting pressure on the basketball. Okay? Now, I thought we did that pretty well in stretches, but the other piece is you have to keep the ball in front of you. You can't get up and pressure the ball and then act like a sieve where you just give up driving lanes. And so I want to look at the film before I make a strong judgment one way or the other about that. But pressuring the basketball, making it tough for a passer, whether it's timing or getting a deflection or making them feel uncomfortable was important. But Liz is 6'9". That's a big target. When she gets free, if we're not pressuring the ball and she's easy to find, that makes it tough. So we'll look at it and we'll fix the things that we can.
Is there any update on Queen and her ankle look like?
Well, she was able to come back in. I mean, I get, it was an interesting rule thing. I thought the foul was on the floor at first, so that's why I put the sub. But they called it a shooting foul. So I guess she was gathering, and so that becomes a shooting foul. And had she not taken those 2 foul shots, she would have not been able to come back for the rest of the game. And then the fact that she could walk off the floor, I was like, you know what? Let's give her a chance. I said, Queen, you got this. I know you got it, and you go up there and make your free throws, which she did. So good for her. That was a gut check for her. And, so to answer your question, she rolled her ankle, and hopefully she'll be ready to go on Tuesday. I haven't gotten a report yet, but I think she's going to be okay.
Henny, what do you think sparked that second half that you all had where you were able to tie it up, make it a game, and really put some pressure on them?
I feel like once we started seeing the ball go into the basket, it gave us a lot of momentum and urge, to have that energy on defense and trying to get some stops. And, I feel like at that moment we went on a little run, and it just sparked in, both sides of, the ball for us.
And then what do you think the play that Lexi had where she dove on the floor, comes up with the ball, and I think she kicked it to Crystal for a 3, and that started like a barrage of 3-pointers for you all. I think she ended it actually with another 3 to tie the game. What about that play what does that say about Lexi?
I mean, it shows that she's willing, to dive on the floor, no matter if she's not the one that's scoring the basket. She's diving on the floor for someone else to do that. So, it just shows her matureness for the game, and she's just playing for everybody else, and she's sacrificing her own body, her own, everything to maybe just come up with the ball, not 100% knowing if she's going to do it, but she's just taking the risk to do that. And we need more things like that, the intangible things, the loose balls, the diving on the floor, the extra effort, and I feel like that's what she's been giving.
Big statistical game for you today. What did you feel like went well, or what do you feel like you did well to kind of put up numbers and help your team?
I feel like I shot the ball a little bit more and was able to take advantage of certain things on the floor, and I felt good seeing the ball going to the basket and being able to push and transition and finding my teammates and getting them in positions to where they need to score the ball. But just to critique myself, just too many turnovers. I feel like that hurt us a lot in the game, and just to trim that down a little bit more, just to give us, extra possessions to, get some great shots.
Hold on real quick, Tony. Go to Zach Ward on Zoom.
Hi, Destanni. How are you able to stay confident coming into this season that you could have a performance like this, and how do you stay confident moving forward that you can duplicate it?
I try not to dwell on the past so much. We don't like losing. That's just, the passion that we have for the game. But this league is so fast. We're playing, in a few hours. So it's like, we can't just dwell on the past. We have to learn from that as quick as possible, and reflect, and then bring it to the next game, and try to do a little bit things that's different, to help win and contribute to the game. So I feel like that's another positive thing. I don't have too much time to try to get down on myself about a loss. I have another great game that's coming up pretty soon. So just to try to get my head right for that, and to stay positive, and work with the team, and just try to get on the same page for that game.
Come back, Tony.
2 games as a W starter now. How does it compare playing at this level versus South Carolina where you were 2 months ago? What do you feel like the biggest differences is, or how have you had to adapt the most so far?
I feel like the difference is that, it's not necessarily a difference, but it's like the game can go either way so quickly. A couple possessions can give a team a spark, and it's like we can't have that, in this league, because everybody's so good. Everybody, is playing the best of the best. So I feel like in those moments we just have to be on the same page for 40 minutes, and from start to finish we have to do what we need to do to be able to come on top.
You had, I think Liz had a block on you, but then later in the game you get to the lane, you're able to finish. So how much learning are you doing as far as just being able to finish in the lane and things you have to do differently when you're playing against players that are bigger, faster, stronger, and you're, still doing your thing at your size?
I just feel like as a rookie, it's just trial and error. Coming, I know how tall I am. I know I'm playing against, people that's a lot of times bigger than me. So if I see the lane, I get blocked, try not to hang my head about it. Maybe she's coming over and somebody's open, so just trying to recognize how much defense I'm pulling, and trying to find those open players, and not to be afraid to go up, just to continue to stay positive about myself, but also recognize who else is open on the floor as well.
Zion, go ahead.
With this being your first home game in the W, how did you like the crowd reception, and what did it feel like just to play here at Gainbridge Fieldhouse?
It felt good. Every game I step on the floor, it feels great. But the crowd was fantastic. The energy was really good. I felt like we came out ready to play. I just feel like that fourth quarter, those last few minutes, we just have to dial in and find the energy to be a unit and stick together and do those intangible things for us to come out on top. And I felt like overall it was a pretty good game. We just, next time, just to reflect on the things that we did wrong, and, to come out next game and be ready to play.
On August 28th, 2020. Tony, you want to start?
Yeah, Alanna, you've kind of had to move over to center almost with this team. Has that transition been for you, especially since you weren't playing that position much in your career before this?
Yeah, I think my mindset coming into the league is just to play the role that I need to play. And if that's a center, if that's a forward, if that's a guard, Marianne maybe, I don't know. No, whatever role they need me to play, I'm ready to do it, and ready to do it at 100% effort. And yeah, I've stepped into that role here as a 5-man, and I might not look like a 5, but I'm doing my best to take advantage of that position.
Pick and pop game's been, it seems like, at least on offense, a big reason why that's been working. Has that always been something you feel like you could contribute in that way? Is that something Marianne's kind of asked you to do? Where did that come from when you got here?
Yeah, I've always been a 3-point shooter. And so when I get the opportunity to, if I'm open on the 3, I'm going to pull. and I'm feeling really good about my shot right now. So that is an advantage that I have as a 5, that I can shoot the 3. So I think we're just trying to take advantage of those things, and, do the best we can with the players that we've got and emphasize their strengths. So I'm a 3-point shooter. Let's get me out on the 3-point line, make a 5, guard me out there.
What's it been like being reunited with Lexi so far?
Yeah, it's been awesome. It takes me back to Stanford days. I haven't been out of college that long. It feels like a long time, but it takes me back to my college days, and those were some of the best times of my life. So it's been really nice to have Lexi on the squad, and just have a familiar face too. Sometimes it's hard coming into a new environment when you don't really know anyone, but having Lexi around has been really nice.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you had to quarantine in Indianapolis last season. Is that correct? And has being back here made you have to kind of relive or go through any of that again?
Yeah, a little bit of PTSD. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I got COVID last time I was here and was stuck here for like 2 weeks in a hotel room.
James, go ahead.
Can you take us through the block and just the emotion afterwards? It seemed pretty fired up on that play.
Yeah, basketball is a passionate game, right? Like we play with a lot of emotion, and Kennedy. I remember it was against Kennedy, and Kennedy's a great player. Like she's tough to guard. So when you can do that type of stuff against great players, like you're fired up, you're ready to go. And I put a lot of energy and emotion into the game, so it just sometimes I show it. And yeah, you get excited when you make big plays like that for your team.
What do you think a play like that, the play where Lexi dove on the floor for the ball, how do you think those types of plays can define you all as a young team, growing together in this league?
Yeah, like you said, we're a young team, and I think we just have to play with a lot of grit. We have to be that type of team that's going to dive on every loose ball, that's going to block your shot, that people have to kind of have a second thought about. And we want that identity to be based on just being a gritty defensive team. And you can see that kind of shining through even in our first couple of games with Lexi diving on the floor, or I know Queen got 2 blocks in a row in the second half there. So, just a credit to the entire team for living up to that identity that we want to create.
Marianne mentioned before the game that, for some of the rookies, there's like this weird dichotomy of I'm going against people that I looked up to, but I'm also like in the WNBA now, so I have to like play against them hard. So how have you seen Queen, Nalissa, Destanni, others just, I guess, get used to playing in the WNBA and playing against some of their probably idols?
Yeah, I mean, and they've been thrown into the mix of it now. They're starting, and they're playing against some of the best players in the world immediately. And I think they're doing a great job. I think they've got a lot of confidence in themselves, as they should. They're great players. And I think that they have a really good balance of being respectful and, recognizing we're playing against some legends here, but also knowing I'm also a really good player myself and I'm not going to be scared to take it at you, which has been really nice to see them, handle their first times in the WNBA. I think they're doing a really good job. I mean, credit to Henny. She just had an amazing game, played really well, really confident, no fear. And that's tough, especially as a point guard coming into the league and someone of her size too. She's playing against monsters out there, right? So yeah, they're doing a great job and they're picking things up really quickly. And yeah, it's been fun to play with them so far.